This video is for anyone in Sydney depressed about COVID at the moment, because there's some stuff that we're not hearing about. Fact one, we've been in and out of lockdowns for about 17 months now, and we've got 1, maybe 2 more months to go. Fact two, this Delta strain is different because less people are dying. Vaccines are working. Fact three, we're at 800 cases a day. We could be at 8,000 cases a day. It literally doesn't matter. Case numbers are not the focus. The end of COVID is so close. We should be celebrating at the moment, but instead at 11 a.m. every day, we're seeing this.
When are you going to acknowledge it's time to lock it down harder?
What are you waiting for to pull the trigger? Like a ring of steel, like a curfew.
You've been dragged kicking and screaming every step of the way here.
This is the list of things we could have done earlier.
I'm sorry, can I?
So why is the question?
Best health advice has just got us a 5-week lockdown.
You keep saying that we haven't lost control of this outbreak.
Have we lost control?
No. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We can all see it too. It's a complete bin fire.
This death of 1,000 cuts, a little bit of restrictions every day just isn't working.
Should we have gone down harder and faster?
Will you admit that your strategy has failed? That you have failed?
Yeah, no, that is not needed. Okay, ScoMo and Gladys have their issues.
It's not a race.
I don't need to know about that bit.
This is coal. Don't be afraid.
But the fact is we're almost through COVID and Australia has avoided disaster. This is deaths compared to population. It's the true rank of how much COVID is screwing up a country. Fiji's having a terrible time right now. Indonesia too. Brazil's been bad, so has the US, France and the UK. Then this down here is Australia's death rate, the big so-called failure. Our lockdowns have been hard and annoying, but they've saved tens of thousands of lives, and we should be so proud about that. Not everyone was saved. Almost 1,000 have died, and that is tragic. This is each of those people by age. You can see most deaths are in those aged over 80. Next at risk is people in their 60s and 70s, and then the risk drops dramatically. Remember that, because here is who is catching COVID in Sydney at the moment. The vast majority are in their 50s or younger. Only 9% of those getting COVID right now are in those at-risk categories. And that is because 80% of that age group has had a vaccine. It's been available to them for months, and most have taken it up. Sadly, this outbreak is now targeting the unvaccinated. 87% of people in New South Wales ICU wards at the moment are completely unvaccinated. The rest have only had 1 dose. By the way, I've heard people complaining that it's unfair that Southwest Sydney have harsher COVID restrictions at the moment. You want to know why? Have a look at this. The bluer suburbs are our most vaccinated. Then this is where cases have been over the past 7 days. If you live in one of these hotspots, you should stay at home and you should get vaccinated. For the rest of Sydney, Gladys is promising you more freedoms.
Where case numbers are low and vaccination rates are high, to allow people to do more than what they do today.
Half of Australia has now had 1 vaccine dose, and that is changing things. Have a look overseas. Up the top here in blue is case numbers, and down the bottom is deaths. In the UK, COVID started very deadly compared to cases. Then they got better at protecting the elderly and it became a little bit less deadly. And now with vaccines, the death rate is very low. Similar story in the US, where cases are rising again. It's very noticeable in France, and in Japan, case numbers are skyrocketing after the Olympics, but deaths are not. The Netherlands had a big outbreak with no jump in deaths. While Israel's interesting, they've been vaccinating the longest, all with Pfizer, and now there's talk it may be wearing off. They are doing booster shots, and we get to learn from their experience. Here in Australia, the case numbers Sydney is seeing are just as big as the Melbourne outbreak, but we are not suffering the same deaths. That is some bloody great news. Keep in mind, it's not because Delta is less deadly, it's because more people are vaccinated. This is New South Wales vaccine rate since July. The blue is first doses, orange second doses. If we follow this trend, we will hit 70% of first doses by September 3. Then it takes just over a month for all those first doses to get their second dose. So we're talking mid-October to get 70% double dosed vaccinated, which is our ultimate goal to end lockdowns for good. There is more positive news about COVID at the moment than there is negative. So get excited. This nightmare is almost over. If you know someone who's really struggling at the moment, who thinks that light at the end of the tunnel is a bin fire, then please show them this video. It might actually really help them.